Hey guys, we're here with a special guest, the one and only Hanko Chow, who finished yet again top four at Montreal Regionals this time with Flunder. So thanks for being here, and I guess I'll just pass it over to you. What's your thoughts on this deck for this, and I guess kind of like in the upcoming format.
I think Flu was a pretty good meta call for this early week of the year because like it's in this weird format where it's pre Maze of Millennia, so everything is just the same format as as the pre-banless format, except that you know uh, Rescue Ace got slightly less consistency, and the like stronger decks like Tear Elements is gone. Unchain is still playable. It's just the resource wise they don't really have that much on their crackback. And like the other deck was what Pearly was less oppressive and Infernobles is gone. So like Infernoble and Tear Elements were gone. So I feel like there was definitely an opportunity for something like a gatekeeper deck like Flu to do well in the first couple of weeks. So yeah, I just took this deck. I built it in like 2 weeks before the event. I theoried with it, and I was like, I think I'm comfortable with this, but I don't think I'll be playing this deck after Mazel Millennia and like Phantom Nightmare because there's just so many better decks to play. But it was definitely fun.
Awesome. Well, I guess before we get to the deck list itself, any words that you want to mention, shoutouts?
Yeah, shout outs to Myrtle and the Ajax gang for giving me a a free ride to Montreal Regionals. Hopefully he doesn't watch this because I still owe him gas money, but he doesn't know. So yeah, shout out to Myrtle. Yeah. And anyways, shout out to all my friends that support me, the Bear Group chat and TCG Player. Make sure to read my articles on TCG Player Infinite. And shout out to James, yeah, for doing the video.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll definitely link those articles down below. And yeah, I know that one commenter, Crabboy, was looking for that update on your Flunder list. So I guess we'll get right into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So this is just treated as like an update on the Flu deck, even though, if you've seen every single one of my deck profiles, they're all relatively the same. So like you basically have an idea on how to build it. So here we have an empty deck list. We're just gonna put cards in. Why do I play three Robina, guys? I don't know, man. Like James, what do you think? Why do I play three Robinas and three Eaglins?
I guess it's good.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So we play three map, three advent, the unexplored wins. You could play more than one of this, but like you would only play like more in the side and like for the mirror matches and certain other grindy matchups that let you resolve your effects. Like you can play this against negates, and then they'd be afraid of like, oh no, he's gonna chain block with the other cards, so that's why they have to negate and destroy this. But realistically, they shouldn't be negating and destroying this. They should realize that Flu only has two plays, and then this card is a blank. It doesn't do anything on its own, obviously. So it's a one of. I only decided to play two Pins for this tournament though because I wanted to put in a DD Crow into my deck. So that was something that I was deciding upon. Fire Kings was getting to be like in my theory was one of the more popular decks for this tournament. But realistically, I forgot that the wanted package was so expensive that people didn't couldn't afford it for some reason. So maybe I should have respected. I shouldn't have respected Fire King as much, but I mean, I thought like Fire Kings are branded, and it's also good against like Labyrinth sometimes. And what was the last match at Rescue Ace? This card has like one interaction against Rescue Ace or two, but it was fine as a one of in the main. Other than that, those are all the Flu cards, right? But I still play the Terraforming, I still play the Simorg, and obviously, we're playing, the best pot cards in the game, Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Duality. We wouldn't be playing, the bad pot because this card's only good if everything goes your way. And in my experience, nothing really goes my way. So anyways, next we go for oh yeah, right. We forgot about the other two guys, Spree and Toucan. How can we forget about them? They're like the best cards. But they're only one ofs. If you ever play more than one, you're you definitely have more cards to combo with. It's just that in the later games you'll have more dead cards, and then that's like once you get to the late game with Flu, you want like every card in your hand to be like valuable essentially. So I don't know. Yeah, they're one ofs, and then we'll just go find the cards that we search with Eagle in here. Apex and Mega Rise, or oh, it's called Rise of the Mega Monarch, right? There we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. Someday we're gonna have a flu that searches Storm Monarch. Someday, right, guys? Anyways, so now that we have all these 30 cards here, these 30 cards will never change, I think. Or okay, not never, but like obviously like the only cards that we kind of change were like DD Crow, the one Simorgh, the Chain Block Ash with the Rabina map combo. And sometimes a terraforming is a little bit too much. Like you don't want to see map like that many times. You want to see map like just enough. Like. So it could be a third MP and whatnot, but mostly these 30 cards probably are like the biggest cornerstone of the deck. You don't want to change any of this. So yeah, that's like what I want to talk about. Now, if you realize we have 10 cards for the non-engine spots. So I was definitely positive on playing Ash Blossom because it was just really good against Fire Kings, really good against Labyrinth, really good against Rescue Ace, and just every matchup across the board, except for maybe like the super gassy combo decks. So that's like the only times you would take this card out. And then I wasn't going to play Dimension Shifter. If you watched my stream, I was still hesitant on this, but then it's just like impermanence was like less impactful against what I think were the good decks. Like it was awkward for me to play Imperm, Dark Ruler, and Featherstorm in the same kind of deck list because you have Dark Ruler that's really good going second, you have like Featherstorm that's really good going first, post side, but then you have Imperm, which is like it's like a soft impact hand trap that like doesn't do well with the other two, so that's why I was like, you know what, I'll just put in the shifter, just go along with it and it'll be fine. So, and it's also like I anticipated more Fire King players, but surprisingly I didn't play against any Fire Kings in real life, so whatever. And then the last other non-engines were evenly matched. I felt that in a format where there's a lot more mid-range decks with less Omni Negates putting out on the field. Like even Fire Kings don't even play their Spell Trap Negate, which is crazy to me. But if they did, then maybe this card would be slightly less better. But like, I don't know. It worked out for me whenever I drew it going second, which is oh yeah, by the way, 0. I never drew this card going second. I'll say another thing is even though I played Shifter, it only won me a game because I drew Shifter plus Rabina combo like once. Every time, like I drew it 6 times in the tournament, and those 5 other times, like it was either a dead card because I either bricked already, or I played against like Flu game one and I drew it, or played against Vanquish Soul game one and I drew it, and it's just like doesn't really do much. So I understand like in theory, Shifter is probably good, but I probably wouldn't have mind if it was Imperm instead. But I definitely would find room for Shifter because there are decks that lose to this card. And then the last slot was going to be Called by the Grave because how it was going to be Duster, but I wanted to build my main deck revolving around anti Fire King, and apparently, like people were going to play Droll and Lockbird in their main deck, so that was another theory on why I got to play these. So yeah, Feather or what's it called Heartbeat. The Duster is definitely in my side deck for sure because you got to respect rescues and stuff. And with that being said, we're gonna be playing the Feather Duster number 2 and number 3. And then let's see here. So let's get this out of the way. Uh, these are the other mandatory cards you have to play. I was hesitant on playing this. I was gonna play like one rivalry just because I felt like since rivalry's already at 1, I might as well play it. Um, and it'd be like pretty good into a hand trap kind of heavy deck where even if if you got hand trapped, you're at least ending on a rivalry rather than a Featherstorm for Rabina on the field. That would really suck. But I'm glad I didn't make that change because I don't think it was really a big deal. And I've only drawn this card twice, and one time I won game 2 of it, but then lost game 3 in time, so that was my only loss. But so the Featherstorm wasn't really my like the tournament winning or so the game or the match winning reason. But I did win game 2 and making it a 2-0 because I drew the Featherstorm in my opening hand against like Vanquish Soul. So Featherstorm carried 1 game. So yeah, the other slots were going to be like I've mentioned. I wanted to play Dark Ruler this format because I wanted to respect the decks that put out like multiple negates on the field that are monsters like Savage and Apo and Baron, those kind of decks. Like there's all sorts of them like Pendulums, Orcust, or Virtual World, or just a bunch of decks that do that. And you just have to have some sort of you have to have something in your deck to outs like Baguska post side. Um, so yeah. Um, Other than that, I think yeah, I sided in Cosmic Cyclones because it's just runic floodgates. It's just a generic side option. I feel like I've played Cosmic in every single one of my lists. There was one time I tried to play Twin Twister, and then I realized that there was Unchained in the format. But I think yeah, Cosmic is nothing much needs to be said. The last three slots was actually Ghost Spell because I wanted to respect Labyrinth more, and I also wanted to respect Fire Kings. This was going to be very close to being main deck worthy, but it's not very good against Rescue Ace. It only interacts with like two cards in their deck, so yeah. But overall, I wouldn't have changed this, even though I never used the Ghost Spells in the tournament. I just don't think this is anything to change. So yeah, those are the cards, and if you guys want me to show you how I build a blue extra deck, wow. Let's go and look at Lyrilusk monsters. Okay, so we put this in, we put this in. What's my last one? Was well, I do need a Downer Magician and then the Zeus, but I also play oh yeah, Slacker Magician. That's what it's called, Slacker Magician. So that's like the oh, it's a 5 card. Yeah, 5 cards Zeus packet. It used to be 6 because I played a 6 or a second Zeus, but oh yeah, right. Typhon came out, so we had to play 2 of those. Even though I never use a single card in my extra deck, everyone wants to know what's in a Flu extra deck, right? So these cards, SP and Typhon, they have to be in your extra deck. In order to make the SP, you have to play Anima and Link Prevo. Even like, there's no correct answer for a Flu extra deck. Like these cards come up like once a blue moon, um, for sure. But anyways, Charmers. I still like the Win in the Dark. I've done this once in my lifetime where I actually like killed at Baron, and then in the mid game state, I had an M pen on the field, and I was like, you know what? I'm making win, and I'm stealing your Baron, and then like it was an even better game state for me. But that only happened once. Um, Other than that, oh yeah, right. Because the last 3 slots of my extra deck were to respect Dogmatica Maximus because people were starting to play that in their Fire King deck. So I wanted to put this in, and it never came up. So yeah, this is my extra deck. Have a quick look at it, and yeah, that's the deck. Wow. Ooh, this is the flu update for January before Maze of Millennia. Mhm.
Amazing. Thank you so much again for your time and doing this
Oh,
profile.
one more
Oh
thing I
yeah.
want to talk about before I go is the theory with uh, Double Dreaming Town. I'm apparently like one of the only people that are still on this for some reason. And I know people are arguing, well, if people are topping with one Dreaming Town, that doesn't make me correct. But like if 10 flu players enter a tournament, and then only one or two of them, maybe just one of them top, because that's usually how statistic goes for flu lately, and they all played one Dreaming Town, but Hanko enters the tournament with 2 Dreaming Towns, and he's the only one that plays 2 Dreaming Town and has and like usually does top 8, top 16, and like these events, or even top 4. I don't know. Does that mean anything to people? Like people are like, oh yeah, the conversion rate is totally totally wrong for Hanko's theory. But I'm just saying, I'm the only one that always plays 2 Dreaming Towns, and somehow it always works out because it's people play around map, and they don't play around 2 Dreaming Towns. So, anyways, I think that's the only thing I need to mention. Gary C is funny right now, but it's not better than Featherstorm or Dreaming Town. So yeah.
Okay. Then any final words?
Yeah, shout outs to David for letting me stay at his place. It was really fun, and shout outs to Myrtle for the free ride, and shout out to James for the video. Yeah.
Awesome. Again, definitely go check out his articles. I will link those down below. And take care, everyone.